Every word you reveal is a weapon someone else can use. They're not listening to understand you. They're listening to control you. Power is not in what you say, but in what you refuse to say. Oversharing makes you predictable and vulnerable to manipulation. When you expose too much of yourself, your desires, your fears, your insecurities, you hand people the very tools they need to shape and control you. Think about how often conversations turn into subtle tests. Someone asks what you like, what you dislike, what you hope for, and you answer without thinking twice. On the surface, it feels harmless, even friendly. But beneath the surface, every word you give away can be used to box you in, to anticipate your reactions, to trap you without you realizing it. The danger of oversharing lies in how it destroys mystery. When people can predict you, they no longer respect you. They simply manage you. If they know what makes you angry, they can push your buttons. If they know what makes you happy, they can feed you crumbs of it to keep you dependent. If they know what you fear, they can threaten it silently, without ever needing to say a word. And when someone has this power over you, you are no longer a free actor. You are a character in a story they are writing. Machiavelli understood that people rarely reveal themselves without motive. They are constantly gathering information, like hunters, studying the tracks of their prey. They do not need to trap you. If you walk into the net yourself, carrying your secrets openly, and the modern world makes this even more dangerous. Social media has conditioned us to spill everything: what we eat, where we travel, who we trust, what we dream of. We announce our victories before they are secured. We confess our weaknesses before we've overcome them. We speak so much that we leave nothing unsaid. In this constant flood of words, we strip ourselves of the only real defense we have: our unpredictability. To overshare is to surrender control. It feels like connection, but it is really exposure. The listener is not always your ally. Often they are silently calculating how to position themselves above you. They notice the patterns in your speech, the rhythm of your behavior, and once you become predictable, you lose the power to surprise, to disrupt, to hold leverage. Imagine a card game where one player lays all his cards face up on the table, while the other keeps his hidden. The open player may feel honest, even noble, but the hidden player holds the real advantage, because he controls the unknown. The irony is that oversharing often comes from a desire to be understood, but it creates the opposite. It makes you transparent, and transparency breeds weakness. People do not admire what they can easily read. They admire what they cannot fully grasp. They lean toward the person who speaks less, not more. Why? Because mystery forces the imagination to work, and the imagination is far more powerful than any truth you could confess. When you hold back, people wonder. When you reveal everything, they stop caring. Oversharing, then, is not just a loss of privacy, it is a loss of influence. And Machiavelli would remind us that influence is the very currency of power. Silence and controlled mystery create power and respect. It may seem strange in a world where we are taught to speak up, to express ourselves, to share our thoughts loudly and openly, that silence could be more powerful than words. Yet history, psychology, and human nature all point to the same truth. The less you reveal, the more people wonder, and the more they wonder, the more power you hold over them. Silence is not emptiness. It is strategy. It is the space that forces others to fill in the gaps with their imagination, and imagination almost always paints a larger, more impressive picture than the plain truth ever could. Machiavelli understood this deeply, for he warned that rulers and leaders must be cautious with their words. A single careless sentence could reveal weakness, while a deliberate silence could make others uncertain, unsettled, even afraid. Consider how people react in a conversation. The one who speaks endlessly, pouring out every detail of their life, soon loses weight in the eyes of others. Their words become background noise, predictable and light. But the one who listens more than they speak, the one who pauses before answering, the one who allows silence to stretch in just the right measure, commands attention without effort. People lean in, waiting for their words because they sense that whatever is spoken is carefully chosen, deliberate, and meaningful. That restraint builds respect, because respect is born from scarcity. Just as rare metals are valuable because they are not easily found, words that are measured become valuable because they are not easily given. Controlled mystery works in the same way. Human beings are naturally curious, and curiosity grows in the absence of clarity. When you reveal everything about yourself, your opinions, your plans, your emotions, you strip away that curiosity. You give people nothing to wonder about, nothing to imagine, nothing to respect. But when you hold back, when you offer only fragments of yourself, you create an aura that is larger than life. People begin to fill in the blanks, often imagining that you are more intelligent, more confident, more capable than you may even. In this way, mystery is not deception, it is amplification. It allows others to project greatness onto you, because they cannot fully grasp who you are. Machiavelli warned that power often depends not on the truth itself, but on perception. Silence and mystery allow you to control perception without saying a word. When you are silent, people cannot use your words against you. They cannot predict your next move. They cannot pin you down with certainty. Instead, they are left guessing, and guessing keeps them on edge. This edge is not weakness, it is dominance. In politics, business, and even personal relationships, the one who controls uncertainty often controls the outcome. Think of powerful figures across history. The most feared leaders were rarely the loudest. They did not explain themselves endlessly, nor did they expose their inner thoughts. They allowed others to wonder what they might do, to second-guess their intentions, to stay cautious around them. The uncertainty they created was a form of power, because fear thrives in the unknown. When people are uncertain about you, they tread carefully, they hesitate, they respect boundaries that you never even spoke aloud. In everyday life, this principle holds just as strong. The co-worker who speaks little but works with quiet confidence often earns more respect than the one who talks incessantly about their achievements. The leader who communicates sparingly but decisively inspires more trust than the one who drowns their team in endless explanation. Even in friendships or relationships, silence and mystery can elevate your presence. When you are not always available, when you do not always explain your feelings, when you hold something of yourself back, you become more attractive, more magnetic, because people are drawn to what they cannot fully possess. It is important to understand that silence is not about shutting the world out completely, nor is mystery about lying or pretending. It is about control. You decide what to reveal and when to reveal it. You decide what parts of yourself to show and what to keep hidden. In this control lies freedom, because if you cannot be easily read, you cannot be easily used. When others cannot predict you, they cannot manipulate you. This is why silence is not weakness, but protection, and mystery is not isolation, but defense. Psychology supports this idea. People naturally assign greater value to what they cannot easily obtain. A person who speaks little seems wiser, even if they are not. A person who withholds their private life appears more powerful, even if they are ordinary. The illusion works because the human mind is uncomfortable with gaps. It wants to close them, to explain them, to assign meaning to them. When you leave gaps, you force people to create their own explanations, and those explanations often serve you more than the truth would have. Controlled silence also shifts the balance of attention. In most interactions, people are desperate to be heard. They rush to speak, to fill silences, to prove their worth. through constant talking. But when you are the one who resists this urge, you set yourself apart. People notice you precisely because you are not trying so hard to be noticed. They remember your words precisely because you did not waste them. They respect you because your restraint signals strength, strength of mind, strength of discipline, strength of confidence. In a way, silence and mystery are forms of discipline. They require you to resist the temptation to explain, to justify, to expose. They demand patience, awareness, and control over your impulses. But that very discipline is what creates the aura of power. Anyone can speak endlessly. Only the strong can remain silent and comfortable in that silence. Anyone can reveal themselves fully. Only the strong can protect their inner world and reveal only what they choose. Machiavelli would argue that those who practice silence and mystery rise above those who cannot control their tongue, because while the open person is busy being read like a book, the silent one is being studied like a riddle, and riddles inspire fascination. Riddles command attention. Riddles cannot be solved too easily, and so people return to them again and again. In this sense, the mysterious individual becomes larger than life, not because of what they give, but because of what they refuse to give. Respect, then, is not always earned through action or achievement alone. Sometimes it is earned by what you withhold. By speaking less, you force your words to weigh more. By revealing less, you force your presence to matter more. By being silent, you create echoes in the minds of others that are louder than anything you could have said. This is why silence and controlled mystery are not just tools. They are shields, weapons, and thrones. They protect you, they arm you, and they elevate you above those who cannot stop exposing themselves. The paradox is clear. You gain respect, not by giving more of yourself, but by holding more of yourself back. Power does not come from being understood fully, but from being partly hidden, partly veiled, partly untouchable. Silence and mystery turn you into a figure of gravity, someone people revolve around but can never fully grasp. And that, as Machiavelli would remind us, is the essence of true power. People are constantly observing, often with hidden motives, and this truth is one of the most uncomfortable, yet important realities to accept. From the moment you enter a room, eyes are scanning you, not just to see what you are wearing or how you look, but to measure you, to calculate where you stand in the unspoken hierarchy of human interaction. People listen to your words not only for their surface meaning, but for what lies underneath them: your insecurities, your ambitions, your doubts, your loyalties. This observation is rarely neutral. Behind it, there are motives: curiosity, jealousy, ambition, competition, desire, and sometimes even malice. To ignore this is to live blind in a world where others are constantly gathering intelligence about you, whether you notice it or not. Machiavelli warned against such blindness, because those who fail to see the silent observers around them eventually become victims of their schemes. Think of how people behave in workplaces. A colleague may ask you casually how you are doing, but behind that question may be a search for information. Are you stressed? Are you falling behind? Are you vulnerable? They are not simply listening, they are assessing. If you admit to struggling, that information could later be used against you when opportunities arise. If you share your personal frustrations openly, someone who seems sympathetic might quietly file those details away, ready to expose them at the moment when it benefits their own advancement. In politics, this behavior is obvious, but it happens everywhere: in families, in friendships, in everyday life. People are always reading you, and their motives are not always what they appear to be. Even silence is studied. If you do not respond quickly to a message, people interpret it. If you speak less in a group, they wonder why. If you show restraint when others expect enthusiasm, they ask themselves what you might be hiding. This constant observation means that every move you make, every word you speak, every expression you reveal, is being interpreted, often with agendas you cannot see, and because those motives are hidden, you may never know how your actions are being twisted, amplified, or stored for future use. To walk through life, assuming people only take your words at face value, is to hand them an advantage you do not even know you have given. Machiavelli emphasized that people are guided by self-interest, even when they pretend otherwise. Observation, then, is rarely passive. It is active gathering. Some observe to learn from you, to imitate your methods or style, hoping to use it for themselves. Some observe to compare, seeking comfort in your flaws because it makes them feel superior. Others observe like hunters, waiting for signs of weakness, eager for the moment when they can strike and take what is yours. And sometimes the most dangerous observers are the ones who cloak their curiosity in kindness, asking innocent questions, showing genuine interest, while quietly extracting information that will serve their hidden agenda later. Social environments are built on this invisible layer of observation. People are not only watching what you do, they are watching how others respond to you. They measure your influence, your authority, your charisma. If you win admiration, envy follows. If you gain trust, suspicion shadows you. Even when you achieve success, it does not end observation, it intensifies it. Success draws eyes, and those eyes are not always celebrating you. Many are searching for cracks, for signs that you might stumble. This is why so many powerful figures cultivate an aura of mystery. They reveal little of their inner lives, not because they are cold, but because they understand that once people have access to your emotions and vulnerabilities, they will exploit them, intentionally or unconsciously. Even in personal relationships, hidden motives exist. A friend who constantly asks about your dreams may not be cheering for you, but comparing themselves to you. A relative who listens to your struggles may later use them as gossip. A partner may use your emotional weaknesses to control you. This does not mean all observation is malicious, but it does mean that no observation is ever without purpose. People look for leverage, for understanding, for ways to protect themselves, or for ways to elevate themselves through you. To live without awareness of this is to leave yourself open, to make yourself predictable, and therefore manipulable. The danger is that observation is subtle, almost invisible. You may never know when someone has gathered enough information about you to influence your future. They may smile in your face, while quietly knowing how to unsettle you, how to win against you, how to weaken you. This is why Machiavelli advised rulers, leaders, and individuals alike to master the art of control, not only of what they say, but of what they reveal in gesture, in expression, in silence. If you cannot stop people from observing, you must at least limit what they can see. Controlled presentation becomes your shield. If you know people are watching, you choose carefully what to let them witness. You may allow them to see confidence, discipline, or calmness, but you hide the storm of doubt or anger within. By doing so, you protect your inner self, making it inaccessible to their hidden motives. The key is not paranoia, but awareness. You do not need to fear every observer, but you must recognize that observation is constant, and its motives are rarely pure. Consider leaders who have mastered this. They are rarely flustered, even when provoked. Their expressions reveal little, their words are measured, and their emotions are carefully restrained. To the outside world, they appear unshakable, not because they feel no weakness, but because they refuse to let observers see it. This refusal denies others the chance to exploit it. The controlled image becomes a kind of armor, stronger than steel, because it leaves enemies without targets. In daily life, the same principle applies. If people know nothing of your deepest fears, they cannot threaten you with them. If they know little of your ambitions, they cannot block your path before you reach them. If they cannot predict how you will respond, they cannot manipulate you into reactions that benefit them. To be unpredictable is to be untouchable, and unpredictability comes only when you understand that people are always watching, always calculating, always holding motives they will not reveal to you. At first, this truth feels heavy, as though it makes the world a darker place, but it is not darkness, it is clarity. To accept that people are always observing is to reclaim your power. You can stop giving away more than you should. You can train yourself to be measured. You can use silence and restraint to build mystery rather than exposure. In doing so, you shift the balance. Instead of being the one who is read, you become the one who cannot be read, and that unreadability inspires something far greater than sympathy. It inspires respect, caution, and even fear. Machiavelli would argue that life is not about trusting blindly in the goodness of others, but about navigating wisely through their hidden motives. When you understand that observation is constant, you no longer play the role of prey, you become the strategist. You learn to decide what others see and what they never will, and in that control lies the essence of power. Machiavelli warns that strength lies not in openness, but in strategic restraint, and this lesson is as urgent today as it was in the ruthless courts of Renaissance Italy. To be open is to invite others into the private chambers of your mind and soul, exposing your weaknesses and giving away the very weapons they can use against you. Openness often feels virtuous, it feels honest, it feels like strength, but in reality, it strips you of protection. It is restraint that grants security, control, and ultimately power, because power is not built on how much you give, but on how much you withhold until the moment is right. Strategic restraint is not silence for its own sake. It is the art of controlling what others can access, guiding their perception of you, and shaping the battlefield so that you always fight on your own terms. Think of how Machiavelli described the nature of ruler. He did not praise those who bared their souls, or openly confessed their intentions. Instead, he advised leaders to be like the fox and the lion, cunning enough to see traps, strong enough to ward off enemies. But both fox and lion rely on restraint. The fox does not run into every snare it sees, nor does it reveal how much it knows. The lion does not roar at every shadow, nor waste energy displaying strength unnecessarily. They act when it matters, and only then. This is the essence of restraint. It is the discipline to hold back when speaking or acting would serve no purpose, the wisdom to wait for the moment when your move carries maximum impact. Those who cannot restrain themselves, who must always express their feelings or reveal their plans, soon find themselves disarmed, predictable, and at the mercy of sharper minds. Restraint is powerful because it denies others certainty. Human beings crave to know where you stand, what you believe, what you plan, because with certainty comes control. If your enemies know your next move, they can block it. If they know your insecurities, they can press them. If they know your desires, they can dangle them like bait to steer you. By being open, you think you are building trust, but more often you are building cages for yourself, cages designed by those who have learned your patterns. Strategic restraint, however, leaves others guessing. It unsettles them, because uncertainty is uncomfortable. People begin to hesitate, to tread carefully, to respect what they cannot read. In this way, not showing your hand becomes stronger than any weapon you might reveal too soon. Look at the nature of great negotiation. The strongest negotiators are not the ones who pour out their needs openly, but the ones who reveal little, who allow silence to do the work, who resist the temptation to explain themselves. By holding back, they force the other side to reveal more, to make assumptions, to expose their hand first. Openness in negotiation is weakness. Restraint is dominance. The same principle applies in life. The one who reveals less controls the flow of interaction, because everyone else scrambles to interpret what they mean. Their scarcity of words and actions makes each gesture more significant, while the overly open person becomes ordinary, their words cheapened by excess. Machiavelli understood that power is not only about force, but about perception. Strategic restraint shapes perception in your favor. If you speak little, your silence can be mistaken for wisdom. If you reveal only fragments, people assume there is more depth behind them. If you control your emotions, others assume you are stronger than you may truly feel. And these assumptions work for you, building an image larger than your reality. Openness, on the other hand, diminishes you. When people see every thought, every insecurity, every reaction, they stop imagining greatness in you, because there is nothing left to imagine. You have shown them all your cards, and in doing so, you have made yourself small. Restraint also strengthens discipline. To hold back requires self-control, and self-control is the root of authority. Leaders who cannot control their words or emotions are soon dismissed as weak or unstable. Leaders who restrain themselves, who reveal only what is necessary, command respect, because their restraint signals mastery over their impulses. People may not articulate this consciously, but they sense it. The one who is calm when others are agitated, the one who speaks little when others chatter, the one who waits while others rush. This is the person who appears formidable. Restraint itself becomes a silent show of strength, more impressive than any loud display of emotion or endless stream of words. In personal life too, restraint elevates you. The friend who does not reveal every detail of their struggles commands more respect than the one who constantly spills their emotions. The partner who keeps part of themselves mysterious inspires more attraction than the one who explains every thought. The colleague who holds back their opinions until the right moment appears more authoritative than the one who reacts to everything immediately. People are drawn to what they cannot easily access, and they respect what is controlled more than what is uncontrolled. Restraint is like a gatekeeper of value. What is rare and measured becomes precious. What is common and excessive becomes ignored. Machiavelli would argue that openness invites betrayal. If you tell people your intentions, they may applaud you to your face, but work to undermine you behind your back. If you show them your emotions, they may comfort you in the moment, but use your weakness later, when it benefits them. Openness assumes goodwill. Restraint acknowledges reality. Reality, as Machiavelli knew, is that people are guided by self-interest first, and loyalty second. To trust blindly in openness is to hand power to others, hoping they will not use it. To practice restraint is to keep power in your own hands, never allowing it to be stolen. Even in war, the principle holds. The commander who broadcasts his plan openly ensures defeat, while the one who disguises his movements, who conceals his strategy, who withholds until the moment of attack, creates fear and wins advantage. Life may not always be war, but the rules are strikingly similar. The world is competitive, people are calculating, and information is ammunition. Those who scatter their ammunition openly soon find themselves defenseless. Those who guard it carefully strike when the time is right. Strategic restraint is not coldness or deception, it is wisdom. It does not mean never speaking, never revealing, never connecting. It means choosing carefully what to reveal and when, ensuring that what you give away strengthens you rather than weakens you. It means understanding that silence can speak louder than confession, and that holding back can create more influence than pouring out. In restraint, you are not empty, you are deliberate. You are not weak, you are controlled. You are not hiding, you are protected. And in that protection lies strength. So when Machiavelli warns that strength lies not in openness, but in restraint, he is reminding us that survival, influence and respect are born from discipline. To restrain yourself is to become unreadable. To be unreadable is to be untouchable, and to be untouchable
is to hold power in a way that no openness could ever provide. Restraint is the quiet engine of authority, the silent armor of power, and the timeless weapon of those who understand that the greatest advantage is often found not in what you show, but in what you refuse to show. Power, as Machiavelli teaches, is never found in reckless openness, but in deliberate control. Oversharing makes you predictable, and predictability makes you weak. Silence and mystery, on the other hand, command attention, respect, and even fear, because people cannot fight what they cannot fully read. The world is filled with observers, many with motives they will never reveal, who are constantly studying your words, your emotions, your reaction. If you give them too much, you hand them the keys to your own downfall. But if you practice restraint, if you reveal only what serves you, and protect what is most vital, you rise above their. Machiavelli's warning is not about isolation, but about discipline. Speak when it strengthens you, remain silent when it does not, and always control the story others believe about you. In the end, true strength lies not in how loudly you express yourself, but in how carefully you guard yourself. The one who cannot be fully read is the one who cannot be easily defeated.